You spent a long time in China as the Economist editor resident in China, so you have a very good insight into China, America, the differences. And I want to tease a little bit of geopolitics out of you. We are today in a major supply chain crunch. There's blockages in China. There's a China plus one policy for many of the multinationals. How do you see the supply chain of decarbonized mobility moving ahead as a result of all the turmoil that we've had from Corona, the lockdowns, geopolitics between Taiwan, China, America, and this glaring need across the world to deleverage in some ways from China?
Well, you were absolutely right that the pandemic and related supply disruptions, not only because of the pandemic, but policies that were implemented around that time, broke the 30-year model, some call it the golden age of globalization, where really everyone pursued a kind of cheap China model. And we all remember that. Much of the world benefited from that. Certainly multinational companies benefited from the cost and quality that was made possible by sourcing. Consumers benefited from lower prices for goods, broadly speaking, that might have been possible otherwise. But it led to a monoculture, right? An excessive reliance on one thing in nature. We know that's a bad idea, right? You find that that kind of reliance can lead to perverse consequences. And in this case, we're seeing it because of the COVID-induced lockdowns in China, but we're going to see it also possibly for political reasons. If there were to be some battle over Taiwan, we can see in the next 10 years that might happen. We might see it with semiconductors being affected much more dramatically. So what we're seeing is the rise of resource nationalism and other kinds of economic nationalism in the US, certainly in Europe, and of course in India as well, which always had roots and traditions of wanting to be self-reliant and independent. You're seeing those forces bolstered very much. Broadly speaking, this is an important and sober awakening. I think it's a good thing because for far too long, business managers, business schools like Harvard Business School used to teach that what you want to do is follow that cheap supply model, reduce costs a few percentage every year, but without thinking about what about resilience? What about some form of insurance policy? So for too long, we assumed things were not going to be risky. And it's not just China. We also have climate change risks now coming in as well. So there's multiple reasons to think about a riskier world and paying the proper price for having a resilient and redundant supply chain. So that's really the big meta theme in global business today in boardrooms. And that, I think, will feed into countries that in a thoughtful way pursue empowering local ecosystems, whether it's through policy or encouragement of new industries like hydrogen here in India, which I'm here to investigate and come to understand better. I think that's broadly a good thing. We're in this new reality for the next decade or more.